Mm, mm, Hey everybody, it's the Morning Cryptos. Mark Shepard. It is day 107 of my 90-day challenge. And this is, I think, week 16. And it is Tuesday, November 14th. And there's been some interesting moves. And I'm kind of tickled that I caught some of them. And that feels good, having kind of totally missed out on what the whole Bitcoin Cash thing was about. But I think I have some good news today, and have some thoughts. And I think maybe I should get the music started, and let's see what the heck is going on. Go! All right, so I'm gonna real quick just check in with the news like I do, and then we'll talk about Ethereum. We're gonna talk about EOS, and we're gonna talk about some other stuff. All right, so here we go. Let's see what's going on. Bitcoin 6531, and top stories: Bitcoin Cash hard forks in bid to ease mining difficulties. So interesting. There was a hard fork for Bitcoin Cash on Sunday, or was it yesterday? What today? Oh, I think it was the 13th, so it was yesterday. Okay. So, and evidently that's to ease their mining difficulties, but there's been this huge thing back and forth, where the mining gets much more profitable at Bitcoin Cash, so a lot of the Bitcoin miners aim their ASIC mining machines at Bitcoin Cash, and that leaves the Bitcoin network, really at a disadvantage, and that's how they're going to take Bitcoin down. And the thing is, there's a lot of people, and I think I just got to go to the charts. There's a lot of people who, good people who think Bitcoin Cash is the answer to Bitcoin's scalability problems, and there are really good people who basically think Bitcoin Cash is an attack on Bitcoin. And it just seems to be this polarization of people, and it feels manipulative. It feels like, and when I look into both coins, Bitcoin Cash is being manipulated by this guy named Jihan Wu, who makes all the miners, and you can only buy the miners with Bitcoin Cash. So that's not exactly centralization, okay, but I get that it's a business thing. It seems a brilliant business thing. But then on Bitcoin side, we have the Bitcoin core developers who are being paid by blockchain, which is owned, one of the big shareholders in blockchain is AXA Insurance. And the guy who is the chairman of the board of AXA Insurance is also in charge of this thing called the Bilderberg Group. And I Googled them and wiki'd them. And this is the ruling elite, people. Prince Bernhard of Lippe-Biesterfeld, Baron of Herschel. These are barons. This is old money people, and this is the guy, Henri de Castries, who is ultimately kind of the guy in charge of Bitcoin. So either side, I'm not liking either one. Either one. It's the same as in American politics. There's in my Freedom song, which I want you to check out. It'll be after this video. And I adapted it for Bitcoin, but, freedom is a word that's very often heard and just as often much misunderstood. It could mean nothing left to lose, or that you get to choose between two leaders, neither of them good. And I think ultimately, rather than taking sides in this debate, I want to invite you guys, and I don't know if you're ready for it, and maybe I'm not either, to take an attitude of non-attachment. It's kind of a spiritual thing, an attitude of non-attachment to go, okay, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, the market is going to decide. The market will decide, and there's all these different voices. It's a cacophony of different voices, and it, particularly if you're fairly new in the space, it's like new people, new users are not, this is not what they're signing up for. You know, they want to make their lives better, right? And so for me, I'm like, okay, you know, a couple of different things. For one thing, I got a message from Exodus Wallet. I did a short video on this last week, basically, and they were just saying, hey, by the way, it looks like you're getting small payments on a daily basis from your mining contracts, and I get about $10 to $12 a day from my Genesis mining contract. And the Exodus Wallet was like, you might need to be aware that if you took those, you know, like say 10 of those payments and put them together to send them in one lump sum, that's going to cost you like $100 in transaction fees, because it's like they compared it to pennies. If you take pennies to the counter and have to count them out, it takes more work than just handing a dollar bill. And so that kind of thing is beginning to affect people, where Bitcoin is becoming less and less usable, particularly for small people who aren't just sending a huge chunk here or a huge chunk there. And that flies in the face of the yearning, the original purpose of Bitcoin being a peer-to-peer digital system of payments. And there may be some fundamental flaws with our ideas around that, and we may need to change them. But the point I'm trying to make is, I just checked in with Genesis Mining, and I can change my payout to Dash, because Dash is set up differently so that if there's a bunch of small payments, you don't have to pay an exorbitant transaction fee on each of those payments. You can recombine things, you can buy a cup of coffee with it, you can do all kinds of things with it, and it's set up and designed for that, because they've made the changes that the original Bitcoin warring parties can't seem to agree on. And there are problems with proof of work mining. And the people at Dash, and again, this is not an ad for Dash, it's just I've done some research, and Dash and Quantum is already proof of stake, but the people at Dash have said we can actually change our program, our software, to be proof of stake. And I think what's really going to happen is that the whole mining thing has become such a problem, with miners becoming powerful because of the hash power they control. And the real issue is not the price of Bitcoin, it's the hashing power. And, you know, I invite you to go deeper with this. Data Dash has explained a lot of this really well, and Crypto Investor, and I'll leave links to their YouTube channels below this. And again, I'm not a technical investor. I'm a big picture guy, and I'm a social, anthropological, hypnotic, psychological kind of guy. So that's where I'm coming from, and I'm trying to understand this and explain it to you guys so that I can understand it. But it seems to me, and Crypto Investor explained that you don't want to just own both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin, because literally if you own both, it's not a hedge. You're kind of betting against yourself, and I don't quite understand all that. But what I do understand is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I also understand that powerful people will continually, the people that have the money, make the rules, and they're not just going to let go of that. They're going to insinuate themselves into our beloved Bitcoin, and that's something to watch out for. And I don't have an answer. I just want to kind of talk to you guys, and I appreciate those of you who said, yeah, Bitcoin Cash all the way, and those of you who said, oh yeah, that Bitcoin crash, you know, yeah. And I see that, but you see, that's exactly what the political process does. It polarizes people so that it becomes a tribal us and them mentality. Just to kind of see what I'm saying. And to me, like, I don't want any part of that. I just want to make my life better. I want these currencies to work, and I want my user experience to be a positive one, right? You know, I was getting my hair cut yesterday. Hope you like my haircut. And I was talking to the lady who was cutting my hair about being an introvert. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'm an introvert. Like, my boyfriend wanted to go away this weekend. I was like, no, I got to stay home. I've been with people all week cutting hair. I just want some time alone. And the point is that when Walmart and Target sell the same exact stuff at pretty much the same exact price. But when you walk into Walmart, that is a building filled with very, very unhappy people. And when I've gone into Target, there's a whole different attitude. There's a whole different energy. And I'm not proselytizing for Target. But I kind of like, those of us, we have a choice. And the currencies, the projects that work, that are cohesive, and that maintain the dream of decentralization in some actually workable format, I think will eventually win the day. But I don't know, because I think this is something we have to look out for, and the proselytizing and the taking sides, and I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not too keen on either one of these groups. And as much as I want to like Roger Ver, and I think he has a good vision, I don't trust that Bitcoin Cash is actually decentralized like he says it is. I don't know. And I'm not in a position to evaluate it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not technical enough to really understand the back and forth, and I get that there's a lot of it is a technical discussion on how best to proceed. But there's a ton of other coins, people, that have solved these problems, right? And if there weren't so much money to be made in Bitcoin's massive swings, I mean, if you could have shorted Bitcoin at the top of this, the money is amazing. Or if you had caught this bottom here at 53.74, you could have sold, basically, you could make $1,000 profit in 2 days, right? So I don't think that's going away anytime soon, but something has to be resolved, and this really is a war, is what I'm trying to say. And I wish I could be funny today. I don't know. It's bothering me. So, and that's way too long-winded, and I apologize for that. But thanks for hanging with me. And let's just go through. Let's grind through the numbers here. We have Bitcoin Cash and the US dollar, and we had this crazy thing that happened over the weekend, but I want to go down to a 1-hour chart, because Bitcoin Cash, and again, I'm done with the political stuff. I'm just looking at the chart as if I know nothing about this, right? Bitcoin Cash on the 1-hour chart is in a sideways trading channel, and the price is right now at this moment, 12.89, smack in the middle of that channel that I drew last night before I went to bed. So, not a bad time to get in if you want Bitcoin Cash. If you were waiting for a moment to get in, it looks to me, like we have a couple of bottoms here that are solid, and it looks to me like it may have turned, and there's support here at 11.89. So you might want to set yourself, maybe if you're trading, or if you're able to set a buy signal at Bittrex or whatever exchange you're using, you might want to put one below this support level. But keep an eye on the sideways channel on the 1-hour chart. All right. So that's I'm trying to stay neutral, and I still feel, I want Bitcoin to succeed, right? And I'm frustrated, but I get easily frustrated. And that's why I'm here, because I'm frustrated with the US dollar. I'm frustrated with the economy. I'm frustrated with the central bank manipulating us and making us essentially slaves to the corporate, the corporatocracy, the corporate oligarchy that definitely runs the United States and more and more looks like is running the world. But there's a lot more of us than there are of them. And there seems to be a shift in power, but it's not guaranteed, people, right? This is we are about to be entering, I think, some very interesting times. And I'm not an alarmist, and I basically think everything's going to work out better than we could possibly imagine. But I don't know, the whole contentiousness is bothering me, and I'm going to get off at the subject here and move on to something that I think is cool. Let's just look at Bitcoin again real quickly here. So we have, we have support down here. My computer's working a little better. I made my lines a little thicker too. And, that's where it went, right? And then we have this channel here, which is kind of the next level of support. And so it also looks like we have a little bit of resistance over here in this area. So these are the levels I'm looking at for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin kind of stays on a sideways channel here, it could be really a good thing for consolidating the price. And what happens is people get used to a certain price. Like Bitcoin at 3,000 seemed outrageous. I mean, back in February, Bitcoin was $900, people. Remember, this has been very, very sudden and very recent. And that's why it's so exciting, and also why it's so scary, is that it could come back, and it probably will come back at some point, but it's so volatile that it usually, it's the question, is it going to bounce right back, And the transaction times, for me, and the transaction fees are a huge issue. And the fact that the network is congested and the network is being attacked and hashing power is being taken away, it's funky. There's funkiness. So, done. I'm done. Jeez. Sorry, I got carried away on that. All right, so I'm excited to talk about Dash. And I'm excited about Dash from a fundamental point of view. I've watched a lot of their videos. You can go to their YouTube channel. They have a spokesperson, Amanda B. Johnson, who, she's just, I love geeky girls. She's so cute, and she's so adorably intelligent and articulate, and just odd in the wonderful way that a lot of us are odd in this space, so. But Dash I've been watching it for a while. I started buying it back here. And then we had the big boost, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then we had the big Chinese ICO thing, and then the Jamie Dimon thing, and the alts, and then we had this weird kind of arc. And it's just been struggling ever since, but boom, man, it took off. And I was kind of predicting that, we had this kind of resistance here. I was predicting that it would go for 400, and lo and behold, it's going for 5. Okay, and then we had a sell back, and that's cool, but it sold back to this new level here. All right. So I'm liking Dash, and it feels good to be in the money on something. And so keep an eye on Dash. It's actually not a bad time to get in if you are a long-term holder. But if, my recommendation would be to kind of keep an eye on if it comes back down to this channel, down to the bottom of this, it might be time to pick some up. The long-term trend is, somewhere like this, depending on where you want to draw your line. Where is that long-term trend, Where does it really go? And again, drawing lines for me is just framing it so that I can just go, okay, well, what about this? Maybe this is the long-term trend, in which case, we're ahead of schedule, right? And so there may be some coming back. As long as it continues on this incline, we're good, right? So that's Dash. EOS also had a little bit of a boost, and I'm proud to say I literally got some more minutes. I saw this yesterday, and I was like, man, this is really looking like, I saw this, I've heard other people call this a bullish flag. higher bottoms, and I said this yesterday, and tops, and boom, it took off. And I actually was able to swap a little bit of my Litecoin for some EOS, and then it took off. And I'm like, this is cool. It feels good to be right sometimes, right? And it feels so good to be out of the back and forth Bitcoin crap. You know what I mean? And again, please don't take this personally. I love all of you guys, and if you have different opinions, I deeply respect that. I don't want to get pulled into this dumb. It's like this is what the powers do. They get us to fight amongst ourselves, and love him or hate him, Donald Trump is brilliant at this. He's so good at polarizing people, and that's a marketing thing. And I've studied with some pretty good marketers, and one of the things they say is, oh yeah, you got to polarize your people. You got to have an enemy. You got to have a common enemy. That's how you bring people together. And it's a psychological, hypnotic trick that's been used on the masses for thousands of years by the power elite. And we continue to fall for it. So, again, I just want to get out of that. I just want to make some money. I want to make some money. Why do I want to make some money? Why do you want to make some money? You want to make your life better, right? I want to buy a house someday. I'm a musician. I've struggled all my life. I've invested probably maybe $300,000 in the course of my life into my music and recording my music. And that money, I'm not in profit on that money. I'm long my own music, but I haven't seen the payday yet, right? And so I want to continue to fund my own music. I don't want anybody else. No record company is going to do it anyway, but that's my why. That's why I'm here every day. It's not just to make money so I can buy toys. It's to make money so I can do what I was put here to do better, right? And I think that's whatever you want better in your life, that's the place we want to focus. And regardless of what's going on politically, to try to stay neutral enough and dispassionate enough and out of our emotions enough to go, okay, this is a buy signal. And if it's a buy signal in Bitcoin Cash, and you're a trader, you might want to buy, even if you don't believe in the project. If you have a different agenda and a different purpose, and that purpose is to create something or to make a project, so there's different ways you can approach this, and I didn't articulate that very well, but anyway, I'm liking EOS right now, and it's still very early in this project. So the thing is, get in early, and we have our next really significant level of resistance in EOS is up here at this $2.13 spot, and I wouldn't be surprised if it works its way up there. All right, but again, remember, it's volatile, and I'm just hanging on long term for EOS because I think it's going to be worth a lot more than $1. I think it's going to probably be in the $30 to $100 range within a year or so. All right, Ethereum. I'm liking Ethereum, and we had a boost. We got all the way up to a 337 or so, and I think that's good. I think our next target is here, and I'll go to the 1 hour chart in just a minute. Our next target is somewhere around the 350 range, and that's doable. That seemed like that could happen today. That could happen in a single day, but the question is whether it can maintain it and hold it. But we have higher bottoms here, people. So not a horrible time to get into Ethereum, but it would have been a better time if you got in a couple of weeks ago, right? These right here, these two double bottoms were really the key place. And anything below 300, if it comes back to 300, people, 297, that to me is a buy signal. And again, this is not to be construed as investment advice, but I got to say it at least once in every video if I remember. But I've been buying Ethereum. I've been getting a little more every time it came back down to the 300 range. Because to me, I'm not a bargain shopper so much. I'm not going to wait, because anytime this is acceptable to me. I think this anywhere right in the middle of this range is affordable. I think it's a hell of a good project. They keep improving it. They seem to be somewhat cohesive, and there's more improvements on the way. It's literally they're redesigning the coin. The platform really is not a coin; it's a platform, and they're improving it. They keep being attacked by hackers. They keep responding and improving. So, and the entire ICO ecosystem basically depends on Ethereum at this point. There are others like EOS may be an Ethereum killer. Vitalik Buterin seems to think there's room for enough. There's room for more. There's room for EOS and Quantum and Civic and Neo along with Ethereum. But there could be some shakeout in that space, the smart contract space and what these coins can do on other levels. So I think it really, while the Bitcoin battle is going on, take some time and look at the altcoins. Take some time away from all the noise and look and see where the quiet things are happening. Because these projects are not stopping just because the news is not covering them. Do you know what I mean? And that's your advantage as the small person. I think that's really the only advantage we have, is to invest our time and our attention, which really are the true most valuable things we have. Take your time and attention and look away from the busy, noisy crowd and pay attention to what's going on. All right? IOTA real quick, and I know I got to speed this up. I went way too long this morning, and I apologize. I'm just thinking deeply about a ton of different things, and this is just one area of my life that I'm thinking deeply about, and I like that. I enjoy that. So hopefully you are along with me on this exciting ride, and you get it. If not, that's okay too. I appreciate you either way. So, IOTA, at this point, I think this is like a triple top here, and I would say if you can get some, and I might look into getting some right now. I mean, it looks pretty good at this price. And IOTA is essentially for the Internet of Things. It's the money the machines will be using to pay each other, and they don't use proof of work or proof of stake. They use something called the Tangle. So I think IOTA is a project to definitely keep an eye on, if only for the technological innovations that they are doing, and for the team that is like, they may be ahead of their time, and that's not always the best place to be in a rapidly changing world, but sometimes it is. So we'll see. Litecoin. I think Litecoin is looking good, people. It's just steady. It's like, to me, Litecoin is becoming the place where I'm finding it useful. So like when I want to buy something else, I'm using Litecoin with the idea that when I take profits from the other things I'm buying, I'll put it back into my Litecoin slush fund. And it's gradually and steadily increasing in price. But it seems to be more stable than any of the other currencies, any other major ones. So either Litecoin or Ethereum, I'm thinking, are good places to park your money, where it'll probably go up and it most likely won't go down dramatically. There's enough liquidity, there's enough support, there's enough, enough innovation and team support and good development and all that kind of stuff, and acceptance and recognition and all the things that we want in something that you want to trust your value to, right? Because we want to increase the value. We want to parlay X into X plus Y, right? That's what we're trying to do. So I'm liking Litecoin. And again, when it comes back to 54, because it always seems to come back to 54, and I'll draw a line on 54 for you guys, so that if Well, this is 55, so that's close enough. So just keep an eye on it. If Litecoin comes back, and let's look at a 1 hour chart. If it comes down to this line, that to me is a buy. 55, 54. And literally, if it comes back down to 54, I might look at some of my other coins that are in profit, take some profits, slam it back into Litecoin, and use it to ladder up that way. So that's just something to think about. Keep an eye on Litecoin. And again, NEO, I don't have any of. Let's look at the 1-day chart. And again, I'm not seeing anything that tells me to get in other than there are higher bottoms here, and we have a real consolidation of NEO. Look at this. Okay, so I might be starting to see something with NEO. We have higher bottoms here. We have a ton of tops, essentially. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 fairly major tops in a trading channel. That could be a buy signal. That could be a buy signal. I might actually look into getting some NEO. So I'm going to check on that. I can only handle about 10 of these. I don't know what you guys can handle, but I can only handle 10 or 15 of these, even just paying attention to them. So you got to kind of, and again, that's the thing with drawing lines and putting frames around things. It helps your mind to filter out all the distractions, and your mind is constantly doing that. It takes a lot of our energy, and so you got to find your place. Some people just want to buy Bitcoin and that's it, and other people want to buy anything but Bitcoin, right? So there's all kinds of stuff, and there's plenty of room for you to find your own place here. But I think it's really helpful to not get emotionally caught up in any of the shenanigans, so that you can trade intelligently and looking at the charts, not politically. Don't be trading politically, right? I just think either way, that's a danger zone. Omise Go against the US dollar. Here's what I'm seeing. I see a target around 9.6 here. And I also see higher bottoms here. So we may be getting ready for a lift in some of these altcoins, right? There's also a line, a kind of a support and resistance line here. Oh, come on. Click, 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 boom. Kind of in this area. So to me, that looks pretty good, And check into Omise Go. I'm going to read up some more on it because I keep getting Omise Go, NEO, Civic, and Quantum a little bit confused because they seem to have similar but different approaches to things. So, yeah, Omise Go, people. Particularly if this channel works its way, kind of down to the bottom of this line, but doesn't go below it, that could be a signal that's about to lift. And I think a lot of the altcoins, let's look at Quantum. That's Quantum against Bitcoin and Quantum against Ethereum. Sorry, it's so small. These big wicks screw up the chart. And Quantum against the US dollar. I still think in US dollar terms. So Quantum is at 11.11. So I'm actually in the money. I started buying it back here. Actually, I started buying it before this chart. So not enough information really on this. This is a newish chart. This is only since they released their ignition token. But good project. We have resistance here. I'll just draw it at the tops of the wicks here. We have some resistance. And let me go to a one-day chart a 1-hour chart. Ah, get this chart to do what I want it to do. All right, so on the 1 hour chart, we have some pretty good support around 10. And we have some pretty good resistance in the $12 range. If this goes to 15, that's kind of my target to take some profits. And I don't think I'm going to take all of it out. And I got like 200 quantum. So we're going to see if I can stake it, see if that's worth doing. But it actually, we might be in a place where it's starting to turn and it's starting to go. But it's, again, fairly early in their project. But we have higher bottoms. If I can finally get the chart to agree with me here. Right? That, for me, those are the indicators I look for. The higher bottoms, it's getting more and more support, but it hasn't broken out yet. Quantum this might be a good buy signal. You might want to, see if it goes back down to 10. And again, this is not investment advice, but shopping advice. Like, I think quantum is still looking really good, and it consistently is in the top 10. And that's pretty good for a brand new coin. Right now it's at 1106. It has 24-hour volume of 75 million. Its market cap is 1.1 billion, which is basically close to Ethereum Classic at this point. Of course, Bitcoin Cash is still ahead of Bitcoin in 24-hour volume. And Ethereum is still number 2 in market cap. So lots going on, people. And I'm sorry this was so distracted. And I just have one more to do, and then we'll be done. And this is what I'm doing. I do this every day. I do this throughout the day. And I just keep checking in on these things. Monero, again, these are the things to watch. And particularly when it's quiet, news-wise and price action-wise, these sideways trading channels are the bomb. I think they're awesome. And, I think Bitcoin itself might be possibly, if there's enough uncertainty, it might do a sideways trading range kind of between these 2 points, and that could be interesting. So that's it for today. And again, I apologize if this went too long, but there's a lot that I've been thinking about and kind of processing overnight as I go to bed, and when I wake up in the morning, I go, both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are pissing me off, right? Not pissing me off, but I just find there's something distasteful about both, and at the same time, something exhilarating. We love a good conflict. This is why we watch football. This is why we watch soccer and sports, and why we, get hooked into politics. There's something in the human mind that loves a good fight, and I think it's from our ancient brain of, whenever you've had some kind of conflict and it's been resolved, there is endorphin release, right? And I think so many people's lives are so safe and so predictable and kind of boring that this gives us hope, and the conflict, the choosing up of sides, gives us something to identify with. We want to be part of the tribe. And I think it's healthy on some level, but I also think it's dangerous on the other level. I think that's maybe the point I'm trying to make. And I see it in American politics. I see that's one of the main things that Donald Trump used in his election campaign very successfully. He is a marketer. On a deep level, he understands that, let's say, he builds a building of luxury condos. He's not worried about the people who could never afford his condos. He's not worried about offending them. Do you know what I mean? He knows that the people who can't afford his condos still want one of his condos. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that stuff he gets. The nuances of being a leader and all that kind of stuff, not so sure. But the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. It's like that's what's going on with Bitcoin right now, and it kind of repulses me. And you know, I just need to share that. And if any of you are like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of the whole Bitcoin thing, I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're gonna try to sway me in one direction, that's okay. I'm not into those kind of discussions. I never was as a kid. I never had arguments with other dudes about which sport team was better or which baseball player was better than that guy or this pitcher or that quarterback. That stuff, blech, right? So that's just my personal opinion, and it's no way a judgment if you love doing that. And I admire people who love good conflict. The end of the day, the beginning of the day, I just want to create a life that's an amazing, positive, healthy, abundant, prosperous life so that I can do what I came into this world to do, which is to honor this gift of music that was given to me and to be some kind of a voice of support and healing for people, right? And for me, the cryptos fit that perfectly. And how they work into your life is obviously up to you, but to know that no one person has all the answers, and there's enough of these coins so that we can do really well and we can build our portfolios with or without Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. So if Bitcoin Cash destroys Bitcoin and Bitcoin destroys Bitcoin Cash, it's going to be okay. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, regardless of what happens there's Dash, there's EOS, there's Ethereum, there's IOTA, there's Litecoin, there's Neo, there's Omise Go, there's Quantum, there's Monero. Those are just the ones I follow. And there's a whole other world of them. So there are opportunities. So let's not get distracted by the politics. Let's focus on our business and what we can control. I can't control Bitcoin Cash. I can't control the different powers that be of Bitcoin, and I'm frankly tired of the whole thing. I want something that works for me. And maybe that's selfish. Maybe I'm just a newbie. When I turn on the light switch, I want my damn light to turn on. If I have money, I want to be able to use it. And I don't want to be charged more than the money to use the money. Does that make sense? And that's got to be fixed, or Bitcoin is not sustainable. And what I want to see is a sustainable ecosystem that has peaceful ways of resolving their conflict without going to war. I would like to see an end to war in my lifetime. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. So I wish you a great day, an awesome day, a wonderful day, a prosperous day, and I just thank you guys so much for showing up and for weighing in the comments below. And if you like this, please subscribe. If you really like it, give me some thumbs up. Hit that little bell thing so when I release a video, it gets your attention and we can continue the conversation. But bottom line is, I want to help you guys to kind of sift through all the information so that you can be profitable. That's really at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, that's what we're all about. And hopefully I can help you do that because you have a dream. You have something you want for your life that you haven't been able to get under our current system. And that's why we're here. We're here for the opportunity. We're here to prosperize ourselves. We're here to prosper and to grow and to learn and to take what we've learned and apply it and to stay in the money. And that's what I hope for you today, my friend. Thanks so much. Peace, grooviness, over and out. And I'm also doing the thing called the Better Man Project, so check out some of those videos. If you are an introvert, if you're a guy who has trouble saying hi to women and starting conversations with women, you might want to check out the series I'm doing right now on approach anxiety and how to start a conversation. And if you like my music, or if you like music, you might want to check out my music as well. I just recorded some new stuff last night, and I'm working here in my local Albany area to see what's going on with that and how I can do more of my music. So those are my main three things, and I invite you to join me on any part of that journey that you feel so inclined to join me on. And I will see you tomorrow, at the next Morning Cryptos. Peace, grieviness over now. Let's start the music.